Welcome to Accelerate My Practice. So glad you could join me here today. Today I want to talk about being proactive. You know, one of my favorite books is 7 Habits of Highly Effective People by Steven Covey, and his habit number 1 is being proactive. And I want to talk through that a bit, and I want to start off with a story of an experience I had fairly recently while traveling. While traveling, I'm sitting there on a plane. I have a layover in Baltimore, I think it was, and all of a sudden my plane is broken and I can't get to my destination. Frustrating thing that happens to everybody in travel. But what was interesting to me is how Southwest handled this. So obviously at the point of the story going on, while it's live, it's frustrating. I'm sitting there thinking I'm not going to make a dinner meeting, and lots of people are grumbling and bumbling. We'll come back to that. But a day and a half later, I get this email from Southwest saying, hey, we're so sorry your flight was delayed in Baltimore yesterday afternoon because of maintenance issues and subsequent changes of planes. Travel disruptions are understandably disappointing. I hope you'll accept our sincerest apologies for the inconvenience for your flight plans. As a gesture of goodwill for the long wait, we're sending you a voucher in a separate email that can be applied towards a form of payment towards a new Southwest reservation. You can be sure we're looking forward to seeing you again and have another opportunity to provide you with timelier service. So interesting to see how they handled that. And what's great to me is to see the fact that they actually use this process to, ingratiate, if that's a word, engender, and get me to do more business with them. And I think of how sometimes in any business, a dental office is no exception, sometimes things go sideways. Sometimes we'll run late, we'll have a technical problem, we'll have something that will be an issue. A vacuum could go down and not allow us to work. So the question becomes, how do we handle those things proactively? And I want to start by backing up and talking about how that works from a psychology perspective. So I want to head on up to the whiteboard real quick and illustrate all this. You'll have something that'll happen, right? An action. And then you have the ability to respond to this action, right? And the question becomes, how do we respond? Do we respond in a positive fashion? Do we freak out? Do we get upset? How is it that we handle this space in here? And Covey talks about our ability to respond to whatever it is, the stimulus that takes place. And I like how he breaks down the term responsible, the ability to respond. And therein lies a great opportunity for all of us, whether we're on the end of, in this case, Southwest with their issues, or whether or not we're the person who's on the receiving end of the challenge. What happens in many cases is we see/hear something, and then as a result of that, we feel something, and then as a result of that, we take action. And this is the model that a lot of people see and use. I personally think there's a step missing in here, and the step that's missing is the story we tell ourselves about this. So in here is the opportunity for a story to take place. We all think that our problems define our lives, right? I have this problem, and as a result, I'm going to have something that stinks, right? So the economy sucks, I'm going to miss my appointment, therefore the result is I'm going to lose business. I'm very frustrated by that. The problem is that patients only accept what's covered by insurance, therefore my practice is not going to be financially successful. The outcome of the election is maybe not going to be the one I want, therefore, right? That's how a lot of people think. And the challenge with this is that there is a step in the middle. And the step in the middle is the decision that you make about your problem. So the decisions we make, good or bad, our future self will either thank us for them or want to just punch us in the nose over those decisions. So it's important to take a moment to slow down, look at the decision and see, is the story I'm telling myself, is it going to negatively impact this decision, or is it going to positively impact this decision? And am I making a great decision right now, or am I making a dangerous one? Because you can win the lottery and in 5 years be bankrupt. And I hope that's not you. Regardless of what the circumstance is, I hope that you make great decisions that allow you to live a life of prosperity. But every single day, those little decisions we make, those things add up. It's like compounding interest. This little decision, this little decision, this little decision, this little decision. So the question becomes, if you have a patient who's frustrated, who's crabby, what can you do? Maybe some small gesture. You know, it's amazing. Something as silly as, if you keep a case of big tubes of toothpaste behind the counter and you hand it to somebody, you might be amazed how often a big tube of toothpaste will make someone happy. And it costs you $3 or whatever it costs. Or maybe it's a restaurant.com gift card. You can buy a $25 restaurants.com gift card for $1.50. You have to buy a whole bunch. You can't buy them singly. But you can buy a whole bunch of them for $1.50 each or so, I haven't looked lately, and hand somebody a $25 dinner. Hey, I'm really sorry for the inconvenience. Here's $25 for you and your spouse to go have dinner. Or $50. You can get those for $5, I think it is, $3. So there's a multiplier there. Those little gestures add up. The cumulative impact of those little things is amazing. We've all heard the Mythbusters story. If you take a piece of paper and you fold it in half like 50 times or something, if you could actually do that, how big would the piece of paper be? And it's just an example of compounding interest. Double, 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 double. That's all it is. But if you double that piece of paper, 50 times, it reaches to the sun or some crazy thing like that. We've all heard the example there. It's incredible to see how little things add up to huge things if you're proactive. So my advice to you is anytime you see an opportunity to resolve a challenge, be proactive about it. If you're proactive about it, regardless of who's on the other side, the impact is significant. Wildly, wildly significant. And it could be a game changer for whoever it is that's across the table from you. So with that said, think about the decisions you make. And with that, I want to leave you, and I'll see you next week, 8 o'clock Mountain, 10 o'clock on the East Coast. Until then, have a wonderful week. What if you could have the practice of your dreams? What's holding you back? Imagine a life where you have everything you ever wanted.